I am not in a mood, and such, and so forth. Yeah, I think he's been licking toads though, so we don't know how coherent he's gonna be. So, but we'll see. It's nice. I mean, he's been around more. I guess he's, you know, doing the unemployment thing or something, right, Pyro? I mean, you got for some reason why you got more time to make videos. You've been drawing charts and shit. That's not Pyro style. Oh yeah, I'm gonna draw a chart for this video. I mean, damn. I don't think Pyro's ever done that kind of shit. Well, he did. He did a diagram with a brain once. I remember that. So yeah, he did do a chart once. Yeah, I've had my minor victories. I got the town council in, you know, this town to not say silent prayer. Now for a moment of silent prayer, and I made them say, you know, a moment of silent contemplation or something. So I won that one. I don't really watch Mel's videos. I mean, I like that she's on, you know, and she seems like she's gotten a little more, you know, gotten her mental thing under control and such. So she's been pretty, you know, rational and all that crap. But yeah, I just, you know, she's a little too, you know, just a little too wacky for me. Yeah, I mean, she's, you know, she's very insightful. She says some, you know, she sees things from really good angles sometimes. But yeah, she's just not, you know, she's not a life hater. You know, and I just really don't want to waste my time with somebody who ain't gonna be a life hater. You either have to be like smart or a life hater. Oh, Renato. God, he's just, yeah. Well, I hope he burns. Yeah, I wish he would catch fire, actually. Just literally catch fire and burn to death in the street. That would be just so funny. You know, have people try to put him out with a lump of cheese. A lump of cheese. He is just such a used car salesman. I mean, all these YouTube personalities, I mean, they all have a charm, and they all have something about them that makes them viewable, you know, and so he certainly has that, but he's just such an obnoxious fucker. Yeah, Jasper Abbey. Yeah, he is. He's just, you know, I love the ones where he makes commercials for himself. Like he does a video just about how great his videos are. Those are my favorite videos of his. Oh. I am Jasper Abbey. You should watch Jasper Abbey videos, but Jasper Abbey is the place to be. Yeah, you're welcome. Just another one of my original ideas that you know, certain people have no appreciation for. So that was kind of funny, right, Pyro? I mean, conference report was like, oh yeah, you're all a bunch of redundant mouthpieces for archaic, moronic ideas that I've heard before. I was like, what the fuck? What the hell are you doing, Toadhead? I mean, damn it. I mean, it's just, that was just pretty lame. So anyway, we could talk about your animal rights thing if you'd like. Because, you know, there's a couple of chart corrections that I think are necessary. uh, Feeling. It's kind of an important word.
It's noisy here, but yes, what I'm listening. I got headphones.
Yeah, the pain-pleasure thing should be on the chart. You know, not just the emotional thing, but pain-pleasure. That's an important one. I don't, you know, emotions are, they don't really give you credibility in terms of rights. You know, I mean, they're just basically another way of feeling. They're complex.
You're right. That needs to be acknowledged. But don't we all agree? I mean, they used to say mammals didn't. They used to say mammals didn't feel pain, and of course we all agree they do now, right? I forgot that because we agree, but still, down to insects. But I guess insects, they say don't feel pain. I think, in my own response, they feel a kind of distress, though. You know, you pull their wing off, it might not be pain, but they feel worry.
Ooh, I just kicked the wrong guy. So is all that background noise where you are? Gee, that's really annoying.
Yeah, that was his TV.
Yeah, well, I just kicked that poor slob. But anyway, you guys, you know, like,
Okay, look, I'll turn it down for just long enough to explain, but yeah, we have election results here.
Oh, okay, we'll do your election thing, you know. It's alright. Because, yeah, that's TV's just way too annoying.
So about animals feeling pain, or at least particular. There's a good reason for the way in which it's represented. Now, I don't agree with them, at least for the most part. But part of the question is, we don't necessarily feel pain until the conscious portion of life kicks in. When you first put your hand on a stove, you don't feel pain. You react as if you're in pain before any pain actually sets in. So if you touch something hot, your arm pulls away. There's an instinctual response that runs from the brain into the brain. There's no actual pain until it's essentially recognized by your consciousness. So the question is whether animals that have less consciousness than we do, or a less higher order, can they feel pain the same way we can? Now, I think they can to some extent, but how far is that stretch for all animals? That really is the conversation to be had.
It's a no-brainer for primates, and then when you start going down the scale, yeah, look at most mammals. Their reactions are so similar to ours. I mean, you just can't escape
Yeah,
it.
but
So I don't even think it's arguable.
The point is that, I mean, the main point is that for the most part, at least our initial reactions are similar before we feel any pain. So, you know, if you hit someone in the face, their eye closes, they jolt, but all of that is pre-pain. So you look like you're in pain before you're really in pain. Then there's the whelping and the screaming and the crying and the I'm in pain. But that's only after the conscious part of our brain recognizes that there was a stimulus, and that stimulus being pain itself. So the question is, do you need to be as higher order as we are to feel pain? Is that really not necessarily important? It's a hard question to answer because we can never really get into their brain. So it's an interesting conversation to be had. As far as I'm concerned, it's irrelevant because the kind of person...
Well, I think I think you have to separate the mechanics of it. All right? So, yeah, you're on the subject of the mechanics of the pain sensation. And I think it's derived in two different ways. So the evolution isn't just like one track and it stopped in that one track and never went anywhere else. So let's say the first pains were very crude, just a positive feeling, a negative feeling, like the warmth of the sun. Okay, so those were the first sensations, were attraction and repulsion. All right, and they turned into like pain and pleasure. And now your system, though, what your reflexes are is a parallel system. It's not the same system. The same nerves that make your hand jump back aren't the same nerves that give you pain. Or they aren't, you know, your brain's doing it. It's a different function. And so one function is designed to protect you. The other function is designed to heal you. Okay, I mean, the pain is basically a disabling mechanism so you can heal. It's not a mechanism designed to prevent you from hurting yourself, although it's designed to make you remember that, oh, I hated that. That was no fun. It caused me pain. So they're different mechanisms. So I think what you're almost arguing as if it was one mechanism, and you're arguing that what came first was the reflex and what came second was the pain. And I'm saying that in the evolutionary history, I think probably the sensation came first and the reflex came second in terms of how a brain functions. So, but this is it is debatable. It's a question. I'm not saying this is exactly how it happened. I'm just saying that I think the argument can be made that intelligence couldn't exist without sensation existing first.
Note that both sides are essentially contemplative, and that neither outright evidence for either. I mean, as you could put it, that there is evidence for either side, because either way, it's a logically coherent story, and it's not something you can get into the mind of and prove, or you couldn't get into the mind of an animal per se and tell what's happening.
Well, I think we can, though. I think we can dissect the mechanics. I mean, I think that's just a statement. You're just saying it somehow we can't know, and I'm saying that no, we can. It's like you could see a train, and no one could explain to you an electric engine or a diesel engine or something, but you could dissect it over time. You could look at it and figure out, well, maybe it's got to do this because that's the only way it could create enough horsepower, and you could deduce it. I'm just saying I think we can deductively recognize that the reflexes of our brain, the brain reflexes, have to be reflexing to something. And so there wouldn't be any reason to have that second tier of intelligence unless it had a mechanism for learning. And I think feelings are a key component of learning. So, yeah, so the first system is that reactive one, that very crude reflex that we physically jolt. But the second system is a completely different system. It's not one built on top of the other. It's two different mechanisms. I mean, their functions are very different. Their whole structure, their whole purpose is different. Their whole objective is different. The whole evolutionary benefit is different. But they're made out of a similar mechanism. I mean, the reflexes inside of our brain, the neuron connections, aren't any different than these long neuron cells that make up the transmission lines in a way. It's all brain.
Right, but the thing, again, and last time, I don't want to get redundant on this, but part of the thing is I keep seeing in chat, well, we can see nerve function and brain function. All right, that's all great. That's all good and well. But it runs the same way when someone's in a coma. They've been doing tests for tens of years, and so far what they've seen is that they can track brain function. They can track brain reaction to pain stimuli, right? The point is, though, that we have no idea. We don't see any reactionary evidence in the human being that there's pain, because when they're in a coma, they're unconscious. Now, you can't feel pain when you're unconscious, and the question is, how goddamn conscious do you have to be for pain to really set in? Now, we can't tell. Maybe they're feeling pain, but they can't react to it because their body's disconnected from their brain to an extent. All right, so how do you work that out? I don't fucking know. But the point is that it's hard to tell without actually feeling, so being in the situation. That's all. I'm really done with this at this point.
Well, I mean, that's sort of a cheap way to argue. Oh, well, this is all I got to say, and fuck you. That's all that can be said. I'm still going to argue. I think we can dissect it. And I think we can dissect it through our experience and what we observe in other animals. And so, I mean, I would use dreams as an example. So dreams is a semi-conscious state. I think we could agree that it's kind of foggy and numb and strange. But in dreams, I've noticed anyway, that I don't have any of those real sharp pains unless I'm physically in pain. Like I have a bad shoulder, and if I sleep on one side, then I'll physically feel the pain. It'll inject itself into my dream, and it'll wake me up eventually. So I can still feel physical sharp pains that I'm actually experiencing. My brain doesn't create them as an illusion. But what it does create as an illusion, as part of the dream, I can feel like I'm suffocating, or I can feel sickly, or I can feel like I can't breathe. I mean, even if I'm not, suffocating, my brain can duplicate the sensation. So it can duplicate different sensations, but it doesn't duplicate pain very well. I mean, like I get stabbed, I get run over by trains, I fall off I gotten killed in my dreams thousands of times, literally. And they've never felt like I know they would feel. I mean, it's been like almost laughable how unpainful it's been. It's like I worry, I'm gonna, it's like I fly in my dreams, and I'll fly and I'll crash. I mean, like, just crash. And it's like I should be all in pain and shit, and I'm like, oh yeah, I crashed, and my arm's broken, and but I'm not feeling any pain.